Alright, this is going to be another Dungeons & Dragons Basics video. This is episode 3, and today we're going to talk about skills. Now there's no right or wrong way to use skills in Dungeons & Dragons. Really it comes down to what you're going for. Some DMs require a lot of dice rolls, some don't. With the skills, there's various skills that are related back to an attribute, okay? A lot of times it's up to your discretion. The book does give you some good examples of the different types of skill checks you'll make. For instance, with athletics, you might be trying to jump extremely high, jump across a chasm, trying to help throw somebody, throw an item, throw bulk items, lift an item, things like that. Other things you're going to use your strength or athletics for is climbing, swimming, things along those lines. You might have to make a strength check to hold on to something for long periods of time, maybe every round or something like that. Other things you might use strength for is prying a door open, which if you end up with a crowbar you get an advantage on it because now you're using a tool. For your strength will determine your to hit modifier for melee. With dex checks you're going to have different things like acrobatics, sleight of hand. Your dex will be your to hit for bows and things like that. So most of your ranged attacks will be based on your dex. Stealth, things along those lines where your agility of both your legs and your hand-eye coordination are very important. Things that this might constitute is maybe slipping something into someone's pocket or pulling something out of somebody's pocket. Trying to maintain balance on something. Trying to walk a tightrope. Pick a lock, disable traps. Those are kind of the given ones, obviously. Also, your dex goes towards your armor class. It can also go towards your initiative. So those are things that your dexterity is very important for. Your constitution is important for various things like holding your breath, running long distances, like I said before, holding on to something for a long period of time without getting fatigued. How long you can go without sleep. Now personally I don't use that one a lot. Most of my players try to camp every day before nighttime. Also your hit points are based on that, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Your intelligence checks will be things like your arcana, history. Maybe your character is a soldier, so you might want him to he might not have a history, but maybe as a DM you might give him a bonus to a history military check for his specific branch. Investigation checks, your nature checks, your religion checks will all be intelligence. Now, some of the things you might need to use intelligence for is if you're playing chess, maybe you're gambling on a game of chess or poker or something like that. Recalling lore about a craft, a tapestry, how old certain things are in a dungeon or in a museum or things along those lines. And also your spellcasting ability, if you're a wizard, is based on your intelligence. Wisdom checks would include animal handling, insight, medicine, perception, survival. Your wisdom modifier is your spellcasting ability for clerics, druids, and rangers. You're also going to notice that some spells allow you to use your wisdom modifier for your attack rolls, such as Shillelagh, which is a big one for the druid. Charisma checks are your next one. Such charisma checks include deception, intimidation, performance, persuasion. And it's basically your ability to either talk or to charm somebody into doing certain things in a natural way. Some of the more out-of-the-box ways you would use charisma, according to the player's handbook, is to blend into a crowd, for example. Another thing you might use a charisma check is to find the right person to talk to about certain news and rumors in the area as well. Bards, paladins, sorcerers, and warlocks use charisma as their spellcasting ability. When you're ever in doubt, just remember these things. Strength measures your bodily power, athletic training, and the extent to which you can exert raw physical force. So basically anything that requires physical use of movement, things like that. Dexterity is your agility, your reflexes, your balance, your hand-eye coordination, things along those lines. So just keep that in mind. Your constitution is your health, stamina, your toughness, your ability to withstand physical exertion. Some of that even goes mental if you really think about it. I mean, how many times have you been, working out and you just stop? If you had a high constitution, you'd probably push through it. Intelligence is exactly what it says. It's how smart your character is. It's your accuracy to recall and your ability to reason and make logical explanations of things. Wisdom reflects how attuned you are to the world around you and represents perceptiveness and intuition. It's basically your common sense and your ability to recognize certain things, really. Charisma is how good looking you are, how well you are at talking to people, how do you know the right people to talk to, are you able to convince people based on your charming presence to listen to you or go with what you say. Those are the basic skills. Okay, so the way that skills work is the character needs to roll as high as possible. Okay, so they take their skill modifier, and if they have a proficiency bonus, and they add that to their d20 roll, and whatever number that is, that's how well they achieved whatever it was. Now, they don't know what the DC is, but the DC, which is the difficulty check, could be 5, 10, I mean, it could be any number, but the way it ranks is the higher it is, the more difficult it is. So 5, a DC of 5 is extremely simple. A DC of 30 is considered impossible, and the only way to do that is if you have some amazing modifiers or you roll a natural 20. So those are the only ways you can do a DC 30, which is considered impossible. So I hope this helped you with skill checks and how skill checks work. Like I said, next week I'm going to be covering magic, how it's done, how it's used. I'm not going to go too specific with the classes, but I will mention all the races and classes that have magic. So there's a lot to be covered with magic, and I will cover that in further videos. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if this is a series you seem interested in. We will be continuing to build on everything we've covered before over the coming weeks and months, and I really hope you can learn something from this. So this is going to be how to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm calling it D&D Basics, but it's really how to play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. So again, please subscribe, share it with your friends, maybe your gaming group, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.